We'll get the infrastructure committee meeting called to order. Roll call please, Melissa.
Steve Burner.
Here.
Keith Garrett.
Here.
Jen Minor. Here. Fred Mogle.
Here.
And Dave Reeser.
Here.
All right. Any public comment at this time? None. None. Hearing none. Moving on. Zoning codes report.
For the most part, it's self-explanatory, but I have several updates. So not included on the first page, but upcoming zoning hearings that are scheduled for May 9th, and they're not included on this because I was only with the board last week to be able to schedule them, and it's kind of a tight deadline. So May 9th, 233 Sturbridge will have a variance hearing for a rear yard setback for a covered deck. 1801 Penn Avenue will have a special exception hearing to allow a professional office. 438 Oley Street will have a special exception hearing to allow a state licensed daycare. 1064 Penn Avenue will have a special exception hearing, that's Bowsman Church, to allow a sign with a message that can change electronically, and the conditional use hearing for the Wrangler lot is scheduled for May 15th. Updates to the actual property maintenance code zoning report. 524 Douglas Street has paid their citation, however, the property is not cleaned up as of last week. So a new citation will be filed, as well as reach out to the owner to see if they're intending to comply. And of the violation notices that were issued for parking on unpaved surfaces, primarily in the hills, 35 Dorchester, 12 Edgedale, 1 Vista, 32 Vista, and 14 Vista are outside of the compliance period and have not complied. Our next step would be to file civil suits on all of those, but knowing the amount of time and financial commitment to doing that, I'm gonna have Kraft try and reach out to the owners one last time, and then if we get nowhere, we would file civil suits against all of them. That's all I have for updates, unless anybody has any questions.
Is that it?
Yes.
I saw Wyomissing Boulevard again, it's listed 19 Wyomissing Hills Boulevard, it's still listed as Wyomissing Boulevard.
Joe, can you do that?
Just, it's the same as last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Thursday's appeal hearing still on the books?
As of now, yes.
And you said it was conditional use hearing May 15th?
Yes.
What time should it say?
Right after, oh,
It's a
Yeah, it's
Monday.
1:30.
Right
1:30.
You said
Right after this.
you said
Right after infrastructure.
1:30, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the zoning or codes report?
Yeah. That
Gotcha.
address is a town at Wyomissing Boulevard.
Is there anything, we're good? All right, moving forward, request from Service Electric number 5, do we need to keep that on the agenda? Let's get that off the agenda for next month. Western Berks Water Authority.
Okay, scope of the Warren Street pipe. I met with the contractor on April 10th, and they finalized the scope of the work. What they're planning on doing is lining the pipe, repairing the pipe, and then pressure testing it, and they feel that will take care of the situation. Time will tell. The engineers are contacting PennDOT now with an aim to fix this around June. They're very busy, so, as everybody else seems to be busy. But anyway, so June is the time that they're gonna try to repair this. So,
And what is the big shutdown? We don't know that yet, right?
no, that's being delayed, with environmental, yes, the shutdown, yes. That's being pushed back and pushed back, so, well, also, in conjunction with that, we're doing a big engineering study to refurbish the whole plant because it's 50 years old anyway. So there's some debate about how many filters do we actually need. We have 8 right now. Some scenarios say we only need 4, so we're trying to go through that before we determine what we're gonna do with the existing filters. So that's sort of holding it up a little bit.
But the bottom line is, it looks like we'll have this repair done before that
Well,
happens.
we're aiming for June at the moment, that's exactly right.
Okay,
That's all I had. Chris, do you have anything?
Waiting to hear this evening.
Oh,
I did speak to Bill Murray the other day, in
Okay.
regards to this too,
Okay.
and it basically jives with what you're saying. It's gonna be the same contractor who installed the pipe
Yes.
originally.
yes,
They're calling it an emergency, there's no PennDOT permit. And he didn't give you a date, but he said sometime this summer, so June sounds reasonable.
that's the date that was
Uh,
called.
But Buttonwood Street, he also said, they have an engineer's estimate for $300,000. And they would have to rip up the sidewalk on the downstream side and relay all new pipe and put the sidewalk back. But he thought that would take some time, that might be a year till that gets done.
Really? Yeah. Contractor apparently very busy.
good. Anything else for the Western Berks Water
That's
Authority?
all I have.
Do we have any questions? Moving on. Number 7, you gonna give us more intelligence on the new lead and copper rule? We're just leaving it on there for,
We can really remove that until something else happens with that, but then that can come off. The only thing we really have underwater is, there's a payment application number 1, $288,952.91. And that's basically everything, all the pipe is in the ground, all the houses are on the new pipe, all the extra hydrants were installed. So it's really just trench restoration at this point. But we are good with that number, 288,952.94.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
motion and a second, for pay application number 1 to Wexcon for $288,952.91. All those in favor? Any against? The ayes have it. We'll move it on to council. Well, backup supply, we kind of talked about that already. We already talked about the shutdown. Anything about the sampling?
They've come and taken our first quarterly sample and still have not posted the results yet. I don't know what that means. I'm trying to communicate with Suburban Testing Labs who drew those samples, but other than that, nothing.
That would be something that PFAS stuff, those forever
Correct.
chemicals, gonna kill us. Gonna kill us.
Kill us financially or
That's-
kill us?
That's the
kill us-
point.
Financially. Oh, yeah, literally and figuratively, yeah. But, yeah, that's gonna be a big.
And when does that happen?
Down the future. Well, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but they keep
The whole-
talking about it.
The whole purpose of UCMR is to gather data nationwide on what's the next thing, issue we want to start sampling for and regulating. Right now, those PFASs, there is no sampling, no regulation. But after they gather this data over the next year or two, they're probably gonna say, you have to meet this many, whatever the requirements are. They're gathering information so they can make a new rule.
Yep.
Okay. Sanitary sewer.
The contractor is in place, they may even start doing, not the cleaning and TV, but some of the pipelining work later this week. Don't have confirmation of that. Boulevard Pump Station, the contractor was out at least to take a visual of the area last week. I don't know as we have a firm start date that I'm aware of.
Okay. Anything new on the West Lawn Interceptor? No, yeah, we do have much. Islands has already paid the $300,000, right? Yep. Discussed the Creek Interceptor alternate plans for our roads, so I didn't print those puppies out, because I couldn't understand it, saved my life.
In a nutshell, the Spring Township is going to be replacing that Y missing interceptor later this year, hopefully. The West Lawn Interceptor, which is still Spring Township's, but it's the cost sharing one, probably won't happen until next year. There's a section where these two pipes, the Wyomissing Interceptor and the West Lawn Interceptor will be running very, right next to each other, down in the area of Evans Avenue. And the thought came between Jim McCarthy and the Spring Township engineer, while the Wyomissing contractor, Wyomissing Interceptor contract is there for this one section, they should probably put in Wyomissing Interceptor pipe and the West Lawn pipe at the same time, and then Spring Township would bill us for that section, because we won't have to install it next year when we do ours. And it would be a cost, I can't give you a dollar amount, but a cost savings, because they'll have one trench, and be putting two pipes basically in one trench.
Seems to make sense. Now, I have no idea where on Evans Avenue, what is this?
I can't tell you, I'm exactly clear either.
It's by the school and the pool.
Okay,
It's at
so,
that corner, I think.
and we're talking about
Somewhere in
doing,
that area.
we're talking about doing it later in the year, right?
Right.
So we should probably notify the school that that could be a problem.
When
for a
this,
while.
when this starts, it's gonna be difficult in that there's two different projects, and they both run kind of parallel to each other in multiple places, but there'll be a lot of digging and dirt work later this year, and then again, the same thing in 2024. They're not exactly parallel to each other, but in sections they are.
The school does know to some extent this is coming, because when we were trying to figure out the appropriate pipe size for the West Lawn Interceptor, there's only two potential users of that would increase in the future, one being the school district.
Okay.
So they know a tentative timeline in the next 18 to 24 months.
Will Evans Avenue be shut down completely in that area?
No, I don't know. I would think there'd be some traffic restrictions, but I don't think they would.
Which side of, you're gonna give me east or west, which side? If I'm going, if the school's on the right-hand side and I'm traveling down Evans Avenue, which side's the trench gonna be on?
It comes,
I need to come out here.
And the only reason I'm asking is because of the parking lot and the school and all the buses that are there.
so Cambridge Avenue, the Cambridge Commons Apartments, this is the new sewer line here, right below the AstroTurf field of the school.
Okay,
And it comes down, and then we have to go to the next. Yeah, hold on there, let me get my bearings. So now the AstroTurf field up at the school is here, comes down, through that brushy area, Old Mill Road's down here, the pipe's up here, comes out to Evans Avenue, down, go one more, yeah. Down to Old Mill right here, and this, I'm not sure exactly where, but right in here is where the parallel pipes are gonna be. That they'd like to put in
By
together.
the pool.
so it's an old bill, like what happens.
Yeah.
They should still be able to get in and out of there from Parkside though.
These plans aren't even finalized yet, it's still a little, preliminary.
When we had our staff meetings with Spring Township months ago, there was a discussion about the possibility that some of this project could be burst in place and some could be trenching, and it could be a combination. Has that evaluation been?
Jim is still, the Wyomissing Interceptor, the plans are getting very close. Jim McCarthy is doing the West Lawn Interceptor where that was discussed, and it's still working on those plans, so it hasn't been finalized.
This area where the two lines would be close together, do you anticipate that that's likely to be a little trenching in that area?
Yes, it will be.
Because of the proximity?
Yes.
It would make sense, I think, to try to do this as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, I would agree. Just, let's keep the school in the loop so they know.
Jim, did you say this was gonna start this summer?
No, I would say fall, late fall.
Okay.
And this, just FYI, this is the one that starts at Coolidge Circle on Reading Boulevard, down through Dr. Sweet's, down through Cambridge Avenue, and we'll go all the way down to the city border on Parkside Drive South. It's a long run.
Which one is the one where the Highlands,
West Lawn,
the West Lawn Interceptor, they're putting some money in on that one?
they paid us
The big field,
300,000.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. That's the West Lawn.
Maybe at the next meeting, we'll do a simple sketch of the two, so people are clear on which one is
If you could get
which.
that drawing that Janelle had at one of those meetings that kind of showed the floor plans
Yeah.
and clearly showed the spaghetti lines.
It's the Loomis for sure. Okay, we go with, the interceptors. Streets,
We had a pre-construction meeting, they are going to start possibly next week. It was gonna be Logan Avenue, now it's Garfield Avenue. So we start next week.
that's under the 2023 street improvements.
Correct.
We need to,
Whoops,
Yeah, I
I'm
was
sorry,
gonna
I'm
say-
sorry, I'm
we
sorry.
have pay application number 4 to whom? That's the one I screwed up.
This is the one I couldn't remember, Councilman, is it L and B?
LB Enterprises.
Yes, this is, we did a consolidation change order at council. This is payout number 4, which will clean up the retainage from last year's sidewalk work. I just wanted to wait this long to see if we got any complaints about the grass not growing for people who've got new sidewalks. I haven't gotten any complaints, so we can finish that contract or clean that contract up.
So we need approval of pay application number 4.
Correct.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for pay application number 4 to LB Enterprises for $7,156.45. All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it, move it on to council.
Did we ever get anybody to take advantage of the financing option we gave them? Nobody.
But it's there if someone wants to.
Right.
Well, that was for street curb work, that was not for the.
Curb.
Oh, was that for curves? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
curves.
Sorry, I
That
was
was
just-
the curb,
That was so expensive.
So speaking of curbs, change order request for curbing at 1020 Old Mill Road, in Borough Parkway.
We are still waiting to get a cost estimate from CMS, the contractor. We don't have it yet. So those people can't make a decision until they know how much it's gonna cost the residents of 1020.
Highway lighting,
Telco is aware that they should proceed with that.
this will probably be on here for the next 7 years, but PennDOT State Hill Road improvements, anything we need to discuss today?
No, but if you wanna hear something funny, I got a call from a project manager on behalf of PennDOT on Friday, asking if they could obtain copies from the borough of all of the PennDOT HOP permits for the driveways along State Hill Road. And I started laughing, thank you, Chris. I started laughing because I'm like, so PennDOT sent you to us to get copies of their own permits, and the answer was yes, because they told us they don't have anything. So, I mean, the chances that we're gonna have anything are slim to none, since most of that is Wyomissing Hills, and it was mainly constructed pre-HOP. Like, I know the Berkshire Mall Boscov's driveway does not have an HOP permit, and I have a feeling it's gonna be that way pretty much all down the line, but
Sounds like a blast.
Let's decide about the roundabouts, the middle of the roundabouts.
that's part of PennDOT's design and engineering. They've not come back to us with anything.
We're waiting to see what the cost would be to decorate it up a little bit.
Right. So that's not eminent, they don't need that right away.
I mean, we've communicated what we want, we've not heard back from them.
First one's not going into 2026, I guess we won't get that.
2026.
We'll get that one next
Why
month.
did I get it by 2020?
I think that might be getting pushed back based off the fact that there's confusion about the right-of-way distances along many of the properties, even after doing survey work, so.
Got it.
Hurry up.
Okay. Cambridge Avenue stream work.
Same update for 10 and 11, which is PennDOT is requiring us to do an updated PNDI, which is Pennsylvania Natural Diversity Inventory. And there are concerns that the long-eared bat has now become an endangered species, so that's what they effectively wanna see if we get a hit for it. So keep your fingers crossed there's no bats.
Oh, yeah,
Green ball turtle?
that's
We're living in my house.
Somebody like just short of
Oh,
So then I love that, I think they're cute.
alright, so we gotta worry about bats now, right?
Yeah, I
Okay, we put that with the deer.
they're not endangered,
What the hell's a long-eared
but it
It's
sounds
a-
like.
It's not, it's the opposite of the short-eared bat. It's a little distant cousin of the short-eared bat. Alright, Green Light Go 2018, word that the pay application has been received, attached 316,000.
There's a typo there, there should be pay application number 3, not number 1.
Okay.
And it is for $316,455.30.
And those numbers are in accordance with what our finance czar has in place.
She's aware of this, yes.
Alright, so we need a, recommendation to approve, deny, or table recommended council pay application number 3.
Second.
So move to approve the pay.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to second to approve and pay $316,455.30 for payment application number 3 to Telco.
Correct.
All those in favor? Any opposed? You guys have it. Moving on to council. Green Light Go 2019. Nothing really new there.
No. They're one and the same.
All right. Administration and Police Department study needs.
The executed contract was sent back to Meister Cox Architects last Wednesday. I've set up a meeting for this Thursday. Bill Meister and I are gonna meet first to go over information for the administrative side, and then he is going to tour the police department with the chief, and then meet with the chief to talk through Olson's numbers specific to PD and see if it makes sense to keep them where Olson estimated them or potentially scale them back. Meister has sent me, at least for administrative office spaces, his take on required square footage, which is overall scaled back from what Olson, was estimating. Some comments he had along with those scaled back numbers, such as, council chambers should be sized for a normal meeting at 30 to 40 people. If a larger meeting is expected, it would be held at another location. Planning on separate main entrances for police administration, it assumed off-site storage will be left off-site, and there's consideration to develop the crawl space, in the back area of the building into a storage room if it's possible. I'm working with Kraft to line up a date and time that they could go through to do the complete building inspection. It sounds like out of respect for Stratix's need to work in that space, we would have to do it on an evening or Saturday. So it's kind of juggling a couple of things there between different schedules, but I'm hoping to get that scheduled in the next 2 weeks. There's a question floating out there about whether or not we do or do not want to have this property appraised.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we should.
Okay.
I don't think we should use the existing.
It's $2,500, right?
Yes.
And so Bel Air will do that for $2,500? Is that his standard price for an evaluation? Commercial?
Commercial use.
Yeah,
Residential would be
that's
less.
gotta be too-
Residential, like 600, so
Yeah.
that's 2,500 seems.
I think we should also get, I talked to the owner at 555 Van Reed Road, and he has expressed that there may be an interest in pursuing something there as well. I think we should have those buildings appraised as well. Can we ask Bel Air what he would charge to do those two?
I'm guessing 2,500, but I'm gonna need something from both property owners authorizing Bel Air's the ability to go in and actually
Well, once we
appraise.
approve it here, I'll reach out to him.
Okay, but,
The same owner owns the building.
no, I understand that, but I'm saying normally there's like a LOI or something that's signed and executed that shows, like in this case, the borough has the right to access and do certain things with the building.
We could get a letter from the property owner.
Okay.
Because we didn't do that for Stratix. We don't have a letter of intent for Stratix.
Correct, that is a pretty agreeable process with the current owner
So
though.
we can have an agreeable process with the current owner there as well.
Yeah, I think we just need a letter authorizing access for purposes of appraisal.
Can we just confirm that it's 2,500
Yeah.
and not 5,000 since it's two buildings?
Yes, I think it's per property, not per building, but I will ask.
Is it all one property? Is that all one property?
Yeah.
Ron had a question.
Yeah, I just had one question. I've been driving up and down that road for 15 years, and that sign's still there about the building that's gonna be built there, which hasn't been built yet, and the sign's still sitting there. So I thought maybe we should just find out who owns that property, since they haven't built the building yet.
It's the one across the street, that big one.
Across the
Yeah,
street from-
it's
Bottom.
Spyro Icolis. He owns the glass building, as I call it.
Right,
That building's not getting built. The building, the sign references, one, the zoning approval expired for like 5 years ago.
right.
To his current building is not at full capacity, so it would not make sense for him to build another building.
But
when-
it might make sense for him to sell us the land, and we can build our own building there.
That's not big enough.
I don't know. It's up
Oh my
to
God.
us. How big is it?
That's a huge, that's a big parcel, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not slope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why,
Well, so's the 200 apartments on the slope, but it's not stopping and go straight up.
I just think building from scratch.
It takes to build something.
I don't know, I just see a spot, I see land, and we always say we don't have any more land, and then suddenly somebody's building a 200 building apartment in Berkshire Heights.
For Mr. Hopper to come in and say it's the last lot.
Right,
That's his
right,
lot.
so maybe the last lot mine is, but at least ask him, if he says, yeah, I'll sell it, how much you wanna give me for it? I'd love the borough wine this, and I'll donate it to you or something, find out, shit, we can do that, should ask him.
I just think building from scratch is gonna be cost prohibitive compared to any type of renovation.
It's hard to do.
You might be right, if you don't ask him, he can't tell you he'll sell it to you for $1, so.
Who owns it?
Spyro, is it Spyro? I can't think of his last name. Icolis? Yeah, Spartan Properties. So they
Coolies.
thank you.
Oh, say cheese spoon?
No, I don't think so.
Well, does it hurt to reach out and see if he wants to sell?
I can reach out to him.
Why don't you do that? Reach out and see it. Sure. Well, we have to, if we have a rock to look underneath, we should look underneath the rock.
I have no opposition to look.
Right.
Simultaneous.
Okay, so we don't need a motion to have you call them and see if they're interested, and if they are, what the price would be.
I don't
And
think
they'd
so.
have to do it quickly. Let us know quickly.
The final update is that Jim, Greg, myself, Lee Olson, and Jim McCarthy will be meeting tomorrow morning to go over the scaled back plans for the public works facility,
Great.
assuming we can actually get a project at the price constraint. Yes.
Do we need a recommendation for you to get an appraisal on 555
And 575
and 575 Van Reed Road
and 1011 North Park, preferably, please and thank you.
and 1011 North Park Road? So we need,
Find out what he wants for 555, because if he tells you 10 million,
No,
why would you waste your
I-
time?
he doesn't, it's not that.
it's not that. We had some general discussions, and it seems like it's somewhere in the ballpark of where we talked about being.
Okay.
But I think before you can really throw anything out, you need to look at an appraisal. Because
Unless he's so nuts.
it didn't seem to be totally
Okay.
unreasonable.
Right, unlike certain property owners.
Right.
Correct. All right, so we need a,
Yeah, right. And I didn't.
I'll make that motion to authorize the 3 appraisals. Appraisals.
hopefully only 2
Two
appraisals.
appraisals, provided the cost is $2,500 a property.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Bel Air's, to appraise, numbers, Strags Building
10, 11, and 5.
and 555 Van Reed, and 575 Van Reed Road. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Let us know what, in a brief email, you can let us know how the public works thing goes tomorrow. Okay. Anybody else have anything else on that project?
I just want to say, if Michelle reaches out to Tom combo letters, and it's different than 2500, let us know right away.
Will do.
Thanks.
Why missing Trailblaze? Trailblaze exciting. Anything new on that one?
No update.
Penny Clayton traffic signal.
This is coming out of fire and police. I reached out to TPD, our traffic engineer, to explain the situation. For those of you that were not at the fire and police committee meeting, there are 2 traffic lights at the intersection of here's Clayton, here's Penn. This is, if you can see where I'm hovering the cursor over the red light on the right-hand side, that is the pedestrian signal, but it's confusing in that it looks like a standard traffic signal. I'm actually kind of surprised it took this long for somebody to notice it. So reaching out to CPD as to what the options are to fix it, and what the potential cost is. I would suggest, since it's $27,000 to $30,000, and it is eligible for either the ARLI grant program, which is automated red light enforcement, or the Green Light Go, that we wait until our next application through one of those grant projects and include this, but that's just my recommendation.
Isn't it an answer in search of a problem? I mean, nobody noticed it for this long.
Yeah,
I don't understand why we'd be spending 30 grand, or whether it's a grant or not, it's still our money.
Exactly right. Do we really need it? I mean, I'm gonna cross the street, can I look at this light? If it's green, if it's red, I don't go. I mean, do I need another light for the pedestrian?
Well, if they're different, that's,
See, they
well,
are,
that's where the
Take
pen
one
out,
out.
but, right, but that's the
You
potential
can't
for danger.
Take one out, it's part of our approved traffic signal through PennDOT, so any change you make to that intersection has to be approved by PennDOT.
Are we simply able to put a sign above it that says pedestrian
You-
signal only?
Can't touch that intersection without an updated TE 160 through PennDOT.
I drove down there the other day, and it's not as difficult as it appears to be, because when you pull into that section of the road, you're looking directly at that signal. You're not looking at the signal that takes you past Do-Si-Do, which is the signal that you see on the left. So there's a perception difference from that picture from when you're actually driving.
Well, there's another signal too, because I'm
Well,
looking
but
at this.
to
another
get the
signal.
There's another one, there's 2
One's
signals.
right,
there.
one's red, and one's red.
I can,
Yeah,
it is one of the worst intersections in the borough. I don't know, I'd like to find out if we could just get a sign above it, say pedestrian signal only.
Chief, has it been a problem? Has there any indication there's more problem there than any other intersection because of
No.
this situation?
No, it was, I go past this all the time going to my house as well.
Yeah.
That's something I,
Never
but
noticed.
I usually, if it's a red light, I just, if it's there to go, you turn right on red legally and you just go, but it's, you know, this was brought to my attention by a resident with a picture, and when you do look at it, it does not seem to make sense to me that that would be like that. So, and I agree, and I think that's what I said, when I don't know if we could put a sign there or not, but we have to get that approval from PennDOT to say pedestrian crossing signal or something, but
I can go back to CPD and ask what I mean, I think it would just be an updated TE 160 plan and form approved by PennDOT to add the sign. I mean, it's a process, but
can I ask, does it have to be a pedestrian signal?
So I'm hearing, I'm hearing
I
that
mean,
we may
could
be
you
wanting to put a
pre-program
sign
it to
up
match
back
the other
there.
way?
$100,000.
Hardly ever see anybody walking there anyway, just have it
Need a
match, they're both
recommendation?
green, both red.
hold on.
I'm sorry, do you need a recommendation from this group to get it, to see if you need permit?
No, because you can't have
Access,
for pedestrians.
whatever that stuff is you said you have to do with PennDOT.
That's definitely supposed to be a pedestrian, like it can't just be switched so that it's the same as everything else.
So again, not without updating the signal diagram.
Yeah. So let's just ask for a sign.
Is there a pedestrian thing going across? Is there a sidewalk across?
Yes.
Crosswalk?
Road?
Crosswalk.
Yes.
And is that properly marked?
yeah. Yeah, there's a traffic light facing that thing.
Okay.
So take a piece of black tape, cut out, silhouette of a person, slap it on.
Well, I would recommend authorization to Michelle to ask the question, and if the question is that a sign can be installed to start the process to gain approval. My concern is that now that the issue has been brought to our attention, if
Liability.
something bad happens, then we had knowledge, and that makes me uncomfortable.
Well, it's gonna go all the way to a blind person gonna need the chirping bird to go past there too, because that's part of the deal, can't avoid that.
Alright, so let's make let's have someone make a recommendation to look at the sign.
I make that motion that,
I'll
that
second
Michelle
that.
looks into it,
Sign.
for signage.
Yes.
We have a motion second for Michelle to look into signage for that pedestrian red light, traffic light at the intersection of Clayton and, is that Penn Avenue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that would be both signals, because you got two signals there.
One signal stays the way it is.
You just wanna put a
No,
sign
the
that
other
says
one on the
pedestrian
opposite
signal.
I just want to put a pedestrian signal above it, a pedestrian sign
Oh,
above
wait.
a pedestrian sign.
Yeah, it would
Facing the
be
railroad tracks.
So yeah,
on both sides.
Oh, yeah,
opposite travel lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? You guys have it. So the next piece is the Fastbridge fiber optics installation, and we've been getting a few phone calls from residents complaining that they nip and tuck some other things, and we had one that someone got hold of Keith, and they fried, was it Denver Comcast? That was Comcast.
No, this is fake.
Oh, it was Fastbridge, okay, that's right.
He's talking.
Friday
Friday.
was
Or
a
something?
gas line.
It fried his refrigerator.
Something's happened to a
In
few
Margaret?
gas lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on Margaret.
That's not the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
one to get hit.
So I think what we're looking for here is, do we want to send a letter to Fastbridge stating the borough's concerns and maybe a listing of the places that we know that we've had concerns in the past? So,
Sounds like Michelle has already been in contact with him via email, and he's been responsive, to the CEO, so I don't know if we.
so we don't need a letter, a formal letter to be sent to them as long as the emails are, I agree with you, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on whether, I mean, are you getting a lot of complaints over there?
Me?
No.
No, I just saw somebody who said there was like a massive amount of complaints on Margaret, like they
There's
really screwed up on Margaret.
been a massive amount of complaints since day one on every street, and it's
In the
twofold.
hills.
One, people not
They're not over here
understanding,
yet, are they?
no,
Not
that's
coming over
next.
here.
Oh, they're not?
Yes, they
They're
are.
coming.
Yeah.
So, one, people not understanding the sidewalk to the curb is not their property. That's half of the educational component, and then two, damage to private property, gas lines being cut through, internet lines being cut through, that, the subcontractors of Fastbridge just insert are leaving trash, aren't able to communicate,
They were
there was
perfect
one
on
that
the
was
street.
cited last week, I think, for driving with no driver's license. There was one last week that
How-
hit and
How
did,
did they know? They asked
because
them.
he hit another car. And then didn't report the accident until one of the neighbors notified the vehicle owner and the police were called.
Huh.
There was one where a car was not put in park properly and rolled down the hill. So, I mean, I've, yes, let Eric Warren know as I am informed of these things. Here you go, but he has been very good about, if I can give him the property owner information and phone number, he will call them,
Okay.
He's repaired the gas lines and the internet, he's paid for all those repairs.
to the
Not
best of my
according to
knowledge.
the one complaint I had.
Well,
There's some deductible.
yeah, I gave Mark that phone number, he called the guy, and the guy's looking into it and try to, apparently it gets sent over to some other company called
UCSI,
what is it?
UCSI or USCI.
Which is their,
Insurance carrier, probably.
well, it's not their insurance, it's the company that will pay their, like to pay their claims, but it's not an insurance, I don't know what, is what Mark said.
But you're saying the homeowner has a deductible?
No,
Well,
they're
they
Fastbridge.
said fridge, and if you said, well, your fridge or oven or whatever it was, is old and you only pay a depreciated
It-
amount, not
yeah.
replace it.
He had $3,000 worth of damage, they would have given $1,200. As opposed to replacing, they said, well, your refrigerator was old, like,
Yeah.
so we're only gonna give you the value of a depreciated refrigerator, not a new one. So, but apparently he was in contact. I don't know if we should be sending something more formal than Michelle's communication.
Well,
Right.
But it sounds like,
what have you been communicating, by email, by telephone?
Both. I've met him twice actually for coffee, just to kind of catch up since they started installing a couple months ago.
They sent out like a come have us for a free cup of coffee last weekend. So I guess it was just to the hills. I saw something, they're like, come down to Bold Cafe and
Maybe
have
do it.
some coffee. I didn't.
Well, if you're getting the results that you need
Yeah, I don't
from
think we need a formal
Michelle's
letter.
communication, I think it would be beneficial, Michelle, if you were keeping a record of each communication you're having with them, so that if it comes up, that you can tell us all how many times you talked to them. I just wanna make sure there's a record. But
Yeah, we wanna make sure the residents, wherever they're gonna be, now or in the future, know that we'll bat for them, but there's only so much we can do.
we don't have to do more if what is being done is effective for the complaints that have come up so far.
So
Wait.
far, so good.
Yeah, I think.
Alright, so let's keep going the same way we're going.
I think I saw
Sometimes
Mark,
you have to take a step backwards to get 2 steps forward, so.
I saw Mark yesterday, and he made the comment that, the guy told him he'd get back to him sometime this week for disposition about the damages. Well, if we hear anything from him.
Alright. Anything else on the Fast Bridge fiber optics? Is there any old business that needs to be brought before the group? Hearing none, is there any new business to be brought before the committee?
The chief has, something he'd like to discuss, which is not on the agenda. So I'll let you give the intro as to what it is, and then we'll likely have to make a motion to amend the agenda.
I was planning on bringing this up at Fire and Police on Monday, but suggested maybe this is the better committee to start. I was approached by the school district about putting in a crosswalk on Cambridge Avenue at Flowers Lane, across
Yay.
from the, where they park for their baseball field and the buses are parked there. Well, apparently the bus drivers all park across the street there, and then when they have baseball games, there's not enough parking there, so a lot of people are parking across the street as well, over by the tennis, the tennis courts right there. So they are asking for the crosswalk being installed for people to cross the street.
Well, I have done that 1,000 times. I have parents who can barely get across the street in the first place. If someone's coming 35 miles an hour down that street, it's a good luck moment. I'm not sure what the crosswalk's gonna help, but at least it tried. You know, there was an intent at one point that the school tends to forget that they were supposed to not park the buses there when there were sporting events going on and parking elsewhere, which was part of the reason we allowed them to use the pool parking lot. Instead, the buses grow faster than the deer herd, and now there's no more parking for buses. That being said, I do think there should be a crosswalk there.
Is it signage also with crosswalks? Yeah, warning signs along the crosswalks.
Unfortunately, it's not a PennDOT road.
Yeah, it's not, I was just saying, it's not a PennDOT road, so we have a bit more leeway.
I've been saying this for years, something's gotta be done there. It's a miracle, they're only getting around to it now.
Make a motion to amend the agenda,
So we need a motion to amend the agenda.
discuss this further. I make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion second to amend the agenda to discuss a crosswalk at over Cambridge Avenue at the baseball field. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we amend the agenda. Is there any public comment?
There's no other place to park buses, and does it have to be contiguous to the school? I mean, bus drivers can get in a bus anywhere, and this has been going on for 30 years, as you pointed out. I mean, bathrooms, buses, kids crossing that street. Crosswalk is not gonna have a whole lot
As
of
it,
effect.
I believe, Ron, as we found out at one of the meetings, there are now parking buses that don't just serve Wyomissing. They park other buses there to help save some money.
That's crazy.
I
I mean,
couldn't agree
especially
with
if
you
we're
more.
trying to do this, let's be friendly and helpful.
Couldn't agree with you more, but I don't
coordinated.
know that that has anything to do with
Who do you talk,
crosswalk.
who do you
Well,
talk?
do we have any public comment? No. Okay. All right.
Well, you wanna be safe, I mean, regardless,
well, would start by taking all the buses out of there, cause
You
there's-
can't take them out of there, I mean, it's only 15 times a year, 20 times a year if you count junior high games, that you really need to move them out of there. I guess you could make the argument for soccer games, you might, but they leave open the gate over there for soccer, so.
But in the summer, they go nowhere, it's a
In
lot.
the summer, they're not there most of the
Well,
summer.
they usually move them by the end of July, so there's,
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, you know.
I've been there a lot over the summer, I haven't seen them there much after the school year's over. There's a few, but there's not, the whole herd isn't there. So, alright, so the chief has told us the school's come to us to paint a crosswalk at Flowers Lane and over Cambridge Avenue.
Yeah, at the tennis court there, right?
Yeah, which side would it be on, John, at the tennis court side?
Well, we cross Cambridge.
Cross
Right,
Cambridge.
on the tennis court side.
What's that street there,
Flowers
Flowers
Flowers Lane, yeah.
Flowers Lane.
Larris Lane and Cambridge Avenue.
But there aren't any sidewalks down there.
Right, there's no sidewalks right there.
On either side.
Well, there's a sidewalk,
There's not one on the school
There's a
side.
sidewalk on
Right.
the tennis court side, so we're putting a crosswalk from there across, I would assume? Because there is a sidewalk on the school property now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Bueller, is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, then, we need a recommendation to approve streets lineage from crossing Cambridge Avenue at Flowers Lane on the, I can't tell you what direction that is. Was it that side where,
Maybe
It's only-
east,
the north
west,
side.
east.
North
It's,
Just cross.
crossing Cambridge.
Just crossing Cambridge Avenue.
Cambridge Avenue? Right,
Yeah.
there's no
From the bus parking lot
crosswalk there.
Right.
to the tennis court side of
Okay.
Flowers.
All those in favor? Well, I'm sorry, we need a motion recommendation first.
I'll make that
Is there-
motion. With signage.
With sign, so a motion recommendation to paint the crosswalk with signage
Are we paying for all this?
at the approved location.
Yep.
I believe the answer is yes.
Yes.
Can we review the no parking signs that are down there then also? Because remember, we've had complaints from, all those residents back there, that they can't even get a car up there to their house when people are parked on both sides of the street.
Flowers Lane.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It's
packed.
Yeah.
private
It's
road.
packed.
Because
Yeah,
my
Flowers
brother was
is a
vandalized,
private
and he
road.
parked almost 2/3 the way to his house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe it's only a public road up to the
Yeah.
creek. After that, it becomes
After
a
that.
private
Right.
road.
Is that when it becomes private?
So we're only about 50 yards, I would say, 75 yards. And it's
People,
our road.
people park at the
Off
tennis
of
court all the time.
Cambridge.
and-
Right, Flowers Lane.
All right, let's regroup, we're trying to paint a line, so my recommendation is, or our recommendation, excuse me, is to go ahead and paint the line with proper signage at our cost, and maybe we can reach out to the school after we do it and say, what about the deal with the buses? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Someone's gonna get hit there sooner or later, someday, just a matter of time. All right, you wanna remind the school that we haven't forgotten about the buses that weren't supposed to be there during baseball games? We know the answer we're gonna get.
I'll talk to them.
Do you have contact there, Jen?
One or two.
Remind them that we let them use the pool parking lot just for that purpose, for overage on those days. So, okay, is there any new business, any other new business that has to be brought before the committee? Hearing none. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.